Greetings, this is Armando, coming to you with another tutorial of the following. TeamTalk for iOS. If you have listened to my TeamTalk for Windows tutorial, I went more in depth and I covered a lot more there than I'm going to cover here. This by no means is a full-fledged tutorial, rather this is to get you started on enjoying TeamTalk for iOS and how do you connect to a server. If you have issues not covered here, I would ask that you contact the developer by visiting Bearware, bearware.dk for more information as well as for any support issues. If you would like to obtain my TeamTalk tutorial for Windows, you may email me at armando@theskybeam.com. You can download TeamTalk from the App Store by searching for TeamTalk 5 by Bjorn Rasmussen. I'm not going to cover how to download and or install the app, since this is assuming that you, the user, know how to install apps on your iPhone. If, however, you do not know how to install an app, I would encourage you to visit sources such as Applevis, applevis.com, where you can find helpful information about installing apps and the like for your iOS device. TeamTalk for iOS works for iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. For this demonstration, we are using an iPhone 6s Plus running the latest version of iOS, which is 12.1.3, as well as the latest version of TeamTalk. When you download TeamTalk, however, yours may be different than mine as I am using a beta version. Nonetheless, the concepts applied here will more than likely translate to the regular version of TeamTalk for iPhone, also known as iTeamTalk. We are going to cover the preferences, explore how to configure a server so that you can connect to a server, and finally explore what happens when you connect to a server. So without any further ado, let's transition to my iPhone. I have my iPhone in my hand. I have the speech slowed down so that you are able to understand what's going on and you can hear exactly what I'm doing. So when you open TeamTalk, you are going to land into the servers page. This is where you will find things like your preferences and your list of servers, as well as a place to add a new server when you need to connect to a server. So starting from the top, if you go to where your wireless signal is or your cell phone signal is,
3 of 3 Wi-Fi bars,
just as I did, we're going to tap below that
button.
And starting from the top,
Preferences button.
We're going to land on the Preferences button. If we swipe to the right,
Server list heading.
You'll find a heading that says Server List. Swipe to the right again.
Add button.
We will find an Add button in which you are able to then add the necessary server information so that you can connect to a server. And finally, you will have a list of your saved servers, or if you have installed TeamTalk and are running it for the first time, you will find a list of all of your public servers. In order to configure the TeamTalk preferences, we are going to swipe to the left.
Server list heading. Preferences button.
Until we hear Preferences, and we're going to double tap on the Preferences button.
Preferences. Server list. Back button.
The first thing you will land on is the Server Back button. This essentially will get you out of your Preferences screen and put you back into the main page where you have your preferences, your add server, and your list of servers that you have saved. We will swipe to the right and we should hear
General heading.
General. This is a heading. If you know how to use your rotor gesture, you can rotor gesture to your headings and navigate this screen by headings. For this purpose, however, we're going to do this the long way so that you are comfortable exploring what's on this screen and you can make the necessary changes that you wish to have to configure your TeamTalk preferences to your own liking. We are going to swipe to the right again, with one finger of course.
Nickname. Name displayed in channel list.
Nickname. Name displayed in channel list. And if we swipe to the right one more time,
Armando. Text field.
This is where we will type in our nickname. If you recall, this is where you need to change your nickname because by default, it will be displayed as no name. And when you log on to a TeamTalk server, people are going to have a hard time knowing who you are, especially if you are listed as no name. To change this, we're going to change from no name, or in my case, from Armando, to something unique so that people can identify me. We're going to double tap.
Insertion point at end.
And I'm going to delete
Return.
this.
Delete. Space. Cap A.
And for this demonstration, I'm going to go ahead and retype my name as well as add iPhone. That way people know I'm logging onto a TeamTalk server with my iPhone.
Cap A. R. M. O. Space. I. Shift. Cap P. H. O. N. E.
We should now hear when we go back to the back button by touching on the top left of the screen.
Server list. Back button.
On the server list back button, we're going to swipe till we hear text edit, and it should say Armando's iPhone.
General. Heading. Nickname. Name displayed in channel list. Text field. Is editing. Armando iPhone. Character mode. Insertion point at end.
And there you go. Armando iPhone is on the text edit where I went ahead and changed my name. You can of course change it to your own liking. Just keep in mind that when people see your name, they'll probably say, hey, so-and-so, or so keep that in mind as I said in my TeamTalk for Windows tutorials. We are going to swipe to the right.
Push to talk lock. Double tap to lock TX. Switch button. Off.
Push to talk lock. This is where you can lock your push to talk key. Now this is a per user preference, so if you would like to enable that, you may. However, I don't think it's necessary since you can either A, double tap on the transmit button if you're doing this via the iPhone screen, or you can double tap on the headset microphone button to open the microphone and single tap the headset button to close your microphone, also known as putting yourself off transmit or mute. We're going to swipe to the right.
Return sends message. Pressing return key sends text message. Switch button. On.
Return key sends message. Basically, when you are done sending a message, you can hit the return button, and this will automatically send your message whether you're in a private or in a channel message. We will swipe to the right.
Display. Heading.
And we land on the display. And we're going to swipe to the right again.
Proximity sensor. Turn off screen when holding phone near ear. Switch button. Off.
Proximity sensor. This means that your screen will turn off if it detects the phone close to your ear. This is a per user preference. I usually have this off since I tend to log on TeamTalk with a pair of headphones. This is a per user preference. We're going to swipe to the right.
Show text messages instantly. Pop up text message when new messages are received. Switch button. On.
Show text message instantly. When someone sends you a text message, it's going to pop up and it's going to show it to you, or in our case, read it to us. This is a per user preference, so I usually leave that on. I will swipe again to the right.
Maximum text length. Limit length of names in channel list to 25 characters.
Maximum text length. This means you can allow how much text you want displayed. I usually leave my default at 25, but you can decrement or increment this field, decrease or increase for better lack of terminology. So we will swipe.
Decrement. Button.
And if we swipe again.
Increment. Button.
There's your decrement and increment buttons. We are going to swipe again.
Show public servers. Show public servers in server list. Switch button. Off.
Show public service. If you recall, back in my TeamTalk for Windows tutorial, I covered briefly about public servers and how they can be both good and or a bad thing. If you would like to have a bunch of public servers as well as your saved servers, it's going to clutter up your screen. But of course, this is a per user preference. I usually turn that feature off because I only want my saved servers and I don't want the public servers shown. So we swipe again.
Show usernames. Show usernames instead of nicknames. Switch button. Off.
Show usernames instead of usernames. This again is where if you have a server that is account based, it's going to show the account nickname that was assigned to by a user instead of the user's actual name. This is a per user preference. I prefer to leave it where it is. I would rather have it show usernames instead of nicknames.
Sort channels. Order of channels in channel list.
Sort channels, order of channel list. You have ascending and or popularity. If you have it set to ascending, it's going to sort the channels by alphabet. That is, depending how the server is set up. Whereas popularity, when you first log on to the server, it's going to show you the active channel, considering if people are in a separate channel other than the main channel. This is a per user preference, but I have mine set to popularity just because it's easier for me to find the channel that's active and join. So we're going to swipe to the right.
Ascending. Button.
You have ascending.
Selected. Popularity. Button.
Or popularity. So to select these options, of course, you will double tap for ascending, or you can double tap on popularity and it will automatically save your choice. We will swipe again to the right.
Sound system. Heading.
We land on the sound system where various parameters can be adjusted pertaining to sound. So we're going to swipe to the right.
Master volume, 70%.
Master volume. This is determining how loud you want your master volume to be for TeamTalk and everything else. I set mine to 70 just because of the fact that I would rather have my TeamTalk as a whole set to a different volume. Now, if I want to turn down a user, of course, I can always do that in my server when I'm connected to the server. And I will, of course, cover how to turn down a user since it's a little different on the iPhone. We swipe again.
70%. Adjustable.
This is the adjustable, so you can adjust it up or down with your finger if you swipe up.
80%.
And if you swipe down.
70%.
And it increases by 10 or decreases by 10. So we will swipe it to the right.
Media file volume. Media file versus voice volume.
Media versus voice file volume. If you recall, I covered briefly about people wanting to stream on TeamTalk and how they have the ability to stream an MP3 file or an internet stream. Well, here you have the same option to turn the media stream down so that it does not blast your ears as you're trying to enjoy a conversation with whomever is on the server with you. So if I swipe to the right,
20%. Adjustable.
I can adjust its value from 100% all the way to 0%, and I have mine set to 20. We're going to flick up.
30%.
30%. And if we flick down.
20%.
20%. And I'm going to leave mine at 20%. So we're going to swipe to the right again.
Microphone gain. 70%.
Microphone gain. By default, it's usually set at 50%. But I have mine set to 70 just because with some earbuds, the microphone can be louder and with some it can be quieter. So to adjust the value, we're going to swipe to the right.
70%. Adjustable.
And as you heard, 70% adjustable. And if we flick down.
60%.
And if we flick up with one finger.
70%.
We're going to leave it back at 70%. And we're going to swipe to the right.
Voice activation level. Voice activation level. Disabled.
Voice activation level disabled. This is where you are forced to open and close your microphone with either double tapping on the transmit button, or you can use your headset microphone button, where if you double tap to open your mic and single tap to mute your mic or close your mic. If you have this set to 0%, it's going to not allow you to do this, which could definitely present a problem for a user who has this set to 0. So my suggestion would be for you to leave it at 100% and use either the transmit button that's on your screen, which I will show you how to get to it, or if you have a pair of headphones plugged in, use your headset microphone button. To open your mic, double tap on the button on your headset, and to close the mic, single tap on the button. So we swipe to the right again.
100%. Adjustable.
It is set at 100, so you can adjust it with your finger by doing the up and down gesture.
90%.
90 to go down.
100%.
100 to go up. And I will leave it at 100. And I'm going to swipe to the right.
Speaker output. Use iPhone speaker instead of earpiece. Switch button. Off.
Speaker output. This is where if you want to allow to use your iPhone speaker or not, this is a per user preference. I have this turned off. But if you were to have it on and you forget to wear a pair of headphones, it can easily give feedback and it could be annoying at times. So just beware how you choose this option. This is a per user preference. I have it turned off since most of the time I use a headset when I am on TeamTalk. So we swipe to the right.
Headset TX toggle. Toggle voice transmission using headset. Switch button. On.
Headset TX toggle. This is the option where you can allow the transmit button to work with your earbuds. If you turn this off, of course, it's not going to work. And if you turn it on, you can use your earbuds instead of finding the transmit button on the screen to open and or close your mic. We swipe to the right.
Voice preprocessing. Use echo cancellation and automatic gain control. Switch button. Off.
Voice preprocessing. Use echo cancellation and automatic gain control. This is by default enabled. If this is enabled, this is going to make you sound like you're underwater. Thus, for some people, it could be annoying. My suggestion would be to turn this off so that you could sound as clear as you can be, since, again, this would be a per user preference, but be aware of what can happen if you have this feature enabled. We swipe to the right.
Sound events. Heading.
And we land on the sound events. This is where you can adjust various events for sounds, such as when people come in, when your mic is open. We're going to go ahead and explore to the right.
Set up sound events. Choose sounds events to play. Button.
We're going to explore the setup sound events screen. We double
Set up
tap.
sound events. Back button.
And we're going to swipe to the right.
Sound events. Heading. Server connection lost. Play sound when connection is dropped. Switch button. On.
Server connection lost. It's going to play a sound to let you know that the server has lost its connection.
Voice transmission toggle. Play sound when voice transmission is toggled. Switch button. Off.
It's going to play a sound for you. For example, if you want to know when your mic is open or closed. For some reason I have this off. I need to actually enable that because sometimes I can't even tell if I have my mic open unless I check on the screen. So I'm going to double tap that option.
On. Private text message. Play sound when private text message is received. Switch button. On.
Private text message. Of course, you can have it play a sound when you receive a text message, and as well as VoiceOver will read it to you.
Channel text message. Play sound when channel text message is received. Switch button. On.
The same thing applies. If you have this enabled, you can have channel text messages notify you with a sound.
User joins channel. Play sound when a user joins the channel. Switch button. On.
When a user joins the channel, you can have it play a sound to notify you, as well as VoiceOver will tell you that a user has joined the channel.
User leaves channel. Play sound when a user leaves the channel. Switch button. On.
And the same thing applies when a user leaves the channel. Not only will VoiceOver tell you this, but you can actually have it play a sound.
Voice activation triggered. Play sound when voice activation is triggered. Switch button. Off.
Voice activation triggered. If the mic senses that you're talking, it's going to play a sound which could be very annoying. This is a per user preference. I have mine turned off, which is what I want. I will swipe to the right.
Exclusive mode toggle. Play sound when transmit ready and no interruptions channel. Switch button. Off.
Play sound for no interruptions and or transmission. This allows you to know that when somebody's done talking, the mic's going to open up for you and let you know that you're free to talk. This is a per user preference, but I have that disabled since I don't care for that. And that's it. So we're going to go back by touching the top left corner of the screen.
Back button.
And we're going to get out of the screen.
Server list. Back button.
And if we swipe to the right.
General. Heading.
And it brought us back to the general heading. So this is something you got to be careful with. So I'm going to do my rotor gesture.
Headings.
And get back to where we were just for the sake of this tutorial.
Sound events. Heading.
And we were back at sound events. So if we swipe to the right.
Set up sound events. Choose sounds events to play. Button.
This is where we were, where you were able to set up your sound events. And if we keep on swiping to the right.
Text to speech events. Heading.
We land on text to speech events. Keep on swiping.
Speech. Select the text to speech voice to use. Button.
Select the text to speech voice to use. Basically, TeamTalk allows you to have a different voice when you're on TeamTalk, and of course, your iPhone has its own voice. So for instance, if I wanted to change from Samantha to Alex and have TeamTalk use Alex, I can change it here. But I prefer to keep everything unified. This will be a per user preference, so you can definitely explore all the things that it has to offer. We're going to swipe to the right.
Speech rate. The rate of the speaking voice is 0.7.
Speech rate, the rate of the speaking voice, and if you swipe to the right, you can adjust
70%.
it.
Adjustable.
I have mine set to 70, so if you flick up or down,
60%.
you can adjust for slow speech, or my case,
70%.
if I flick up, I adjusted it for a faster rate, which I'm going to leave mine at 70%. Your mileage varies from mine. This is a per user preference. We will swipe to the right.
Speech volume. The volume of the speaking voice is 0.7.
Speech volume, same idea as the speech rate. You can increase or decrease the voiceover volume for TeamTalk. So if you want your voiceover to be louder, you can swipe to the right.
70%. Adjustable.
And you can adjust it with your up and down one motion finger. So if I adjust down,
60%.
I just lowered the volume by 10. And if I swiped upward,
70%.
we are back at 70%, which is where I want it. If I swipe to the right,
Set up announcements. Choose events to play back. Button.
set up announcements. Choose events to play back. Let's explore the screen and see what happens.
Back button.
Double tap to open, and you'll land on the back button. We will swipe to the right.
Announcements. Heading. User logged in. Announce user logged onto server. Switch button. Off.
User logged in. Announce user logged on the server. You can have this enabled or disabled. I'm going to turn mine on.
On. User logged out. Announce user logged out of server. Switch button. Off.
And the same thing, if you want to know who logged out of the server as well as the sound, I'm going to turn that on as well.
On. User joins channel. Announce user joining channel. Switch button. On.
User joined channel. It's going to, of course, notify you who joined the channel. This is a per user preference. I'm going to leave that on.
User leaves channel. Announce user leaving channel. Switch button. On.
User leaves channel, the same idea. This is a per user preference.
Connection lost. Announce lost server connection. Switch button. On.
Announce server lost connection. It's going to notify you via voice that the server is disconnected as well. I leave that on.
Private text message. Announce content of text message. Switch button. Off.
Announce content of private text message. This I would encourage you to leave on in case you do receive a text message. Mine is turned off for some reason, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that on.
On.
And we're going to swipe to the right.
Channel text message. Announce content of text message. Switch button. Off.
And the same thing as a private message. It's going to not only let you know that you have a channel message, but it will read it to you. So I'm going to turn mine on.
On.
And we're done. So we're going to go back to the back button by touching the top left of the screen. And we're going to double tap there.
Server list. Back button.
And I will now use my heading feature, which can be accessed via the rotor gesture, to get back to where we were.
Set up announcements. Choose events to play back. Button.
And we're going to now go to the
Connection. Heading.
connection, where we get to specify the parameters of what we want and do not want to happen when we connect onto a server. We're going to swipe to the right.
Join root channel. Join root channel after login. Switch button. Off.
Join root channel after login. This is a per user preference. I'm going to leave that off because I would rather find a channel and join that way, which I will show you how to do that. When the time comes to connect, once we have configured a server, we're going to swipe to the right.
Default subscriptions. Heading.
And we're at default subscriptions. And we're going to swipe to the right.
User messages. Receive text messages by default. Switch button. On.
Receive text messages by default. If you have that on, it's going to automatically receive your text messages. So this is a per user preference.
Channel messages. Receive channel messages by default. Switch button. On.
The same thing applies with channel messages as I keep on swiping to the right. And I'm going to leave mine on.
Broadcast messages. Receive broadcast messages by default. Switch button. On.
Broadcast messages, if somebody broadcasts a message on the server, this will automatically receive it and such. So this is a per user preference. I am going to leave that on.
Voice. Receive voice streams by default. Switch button. On.
Receive voice streams by default. This will allow you to hear when somebody's talking. If you have this off, then you won't hear nobody. So use this at your own discretion. Swipe to the right.
Webcam. Receive webcam streams by default. Switch button. Off.
Receive webcam streams. You can have that checked or unchecked. I'm going to leave mine unchecked since I don't use webcam.
Media file. Receive media file streams by default. Switch button. On.
Receive media file streams by default. You can use this at your own leisure, but I would leave this on in case you want to hear people stream and such.
Desktop. Receive desktop sessions by default. Switch button. Off.
Receive desktop sessions. That's if you're going to do a remote screen session with somebody, you can have it received, but I usually turn that off since I don't do none of that.
Version information. Heading.
And now we have landed on version information. I'm going to let you explore that since this is basically going to give you all the details as per the TeamTalk version, the developer information, and anything else that corresponds to the current build of your TeamTalk for iOS. So to get out of the screen, we're going to find the server back button by touching on the top left of the screen.
Server list. Back button.
And we should hear server list back button.
Preferences. Button.
Double tap out of there and you're back to the preferences. In the next segment, we are going to cover how to input server information, save the server we configured, connect to the saved server, and lots more on TeamTalk for iOS. Stay tuned, there's a lot more where this came from.